Welcome to the Amit Mehta show. Today we are doing a special episode on question and answers. We had posted on our social media page that if you have any queries or questions that you would like to be answered, then please send it to us. We received a great response and we received a bunch of questions. And here are some of the top questions that we have shortlisted and would be taking up in this podcast.
What do you make of the current volatility of the Indian stock market? The Sensex has gone high of 85,000 to 73,000. What impact would this have on the real estate market?
Well, we've seen in the last few months the Sensex has been quite volatile. It has been on a downward spiral. It had touched 85,000 and now it is somewhere close to 73,000. But I wouldn't be too worried because if you look at the last 52-week high low, the market was at 70,000, which means this time of the year roughly, the market was close to 70,000 and today it is somewhere close to 73,000.
Yeah.
So it is still higher than what it was, at the lowest point of time 1 year back. While the market has been volatile, the economic indicators still look very good and positive. The Indian economy is growing at 6.5% to 7% per annum. There are foreign investors who are coming in India and investing in large business houses. We are seeing good FDI, FII investments in our country.
Okay.
There is a lot of companies who are coming and opening their manufacturing hubs in India. And in general, there is a growth in wealth and prosperity in the middle class and the elite class. So, looking at all of these macroeconomic factors, I don't see that the market, which was already overinflated, and if it has corrected a little bit,
Right.
should have a negative impact on real estate. Because you had, some stocks like Adani Group or DMart trading at 100 times earnings. So if certain stocks are anyways overvalued, it was time for a correction. The market had suddenly gone up too fast too soon. And I think a correction brings in some sort of sense in the market. A correction in the short term is better than a bubble bursting in the long term. So when the market had touched 85,000, BSE Sensex, people were saying that in a few months or a year it will touch 1 lakh. Now this is market being overinflated, and this could have led to a burst in the bubble, which can create a lot of pain such as recession, loss of jobs,
Right.
companies pulling out investments. But a timely correction like this is good and healthy for the economy because now valuations are realistic and fair. I don't think anything per se has changed. India still is on the radar of a lot of companies in the Western world, in the European world. Our economy is growing healthily. So I don't think that the correction will have a major impact.
Right.
There may be people who would now take a little more time to purchase vis-a-vis what they were doing, but there is still strong demand, there is still strong growth. If you look at year-on-year data since 21, 22, 23 and 24, year-on-year real estate registrations have surpassed the last year. So in 2024, the volume and the numbers of real estate transactions in Mumbai and across major macro cities in India have surpassed the 23 numbers, and 23 has surpassed 22. So year on year we are seeing a positive growth. So I think if you have a long-term horizon in real estate, then you should do very well.
Is paying a premium to purchase a property with a top brand or developer worth it?
I think paying a premium is worth it, and I will start this with an example of a very big developer who had told me, without naming him. He had said कि सस्ती चीज़ हमेशा सस्ती रह जाती है and महंगी चीज़ हमेशा महंगी ही रहती है. So I will answer this question with an example because I know of a family of 2 brothers who had purchased a property in Prabhadevi way back in 2006. One brother had purchased a property in Beaumont, which at that time was close to 6,000 rupees per square foot. As unbelievable as it sounds today,
Yeah.
yes, that was the price of Beaumont in Prabhadevi way back in 2006. And the other brother found that 6,000 was too high a price, and he was getting a property, a simple standalone building, not a gated complex like Beaumont, at 4,500, which he thought was a more realistic price. None of them have ended up staying in over here, so they've been investors. They've invested. They still have these apartments with them. They stay in South Mumbai in Nepean Sea Road. But I know this because I know the family very closely. So the other brother thought that Beaumont was very expensive, and he decided to invest in a building called as Prithvi Emperor,
Right.
which is a simple standalone building on the opposite side of Beaumont. Today, Beaumont has gone from 6,000 to more than a lakh per square foot, and Prithvi Emperor has gone from 4,500 to at max 40,000. And I know this because there are apartments in that building, and without with all due respect to that building and that location, people are struggling to sell their 3 beds, which are somewhere around 1150, 1200 carpet at even 4.5, 5 crores.
Right.
Whereas in Beaumont, if you have a 3 bed which is at 1200, 1400 carpet, you can easily get 12 to 14 crores today. So that is the difference. For a 1,500 premium, someone has lost out on such a big potential appreciation, and this is a real example.
Yeah.
So if you are paying a premium for certain project or a brand, then you will definitely get the value of that premium back. So one thing that you must do when you're looking at investing in a project or a location is that buy a project or a building which you feel would eventually become one of the top 3 in that area.
Right.
So if we may quote Worli as an example, because we understand and know Worli quite well. There are projects like Oberoi 360 West and Raheja Artesia, which clearly are 2 of the best projects today in terms of gated complexes, and they command a certain premium. So if you are looking at Worli as an investment destination, then identify and buy projects which you think whenever the delivery happens, it matches with the characteristics of an Oberoi 360 or a Raheja Artesia.
Right.
So even if you have to pay a premium today to buy something, in future you will always get the return on that premium. So buy something which, one of the best things is buy with a top brand, buy with a well-known brand. It's very easy to identify who the well-known players in Mumbai are, or in any micro market is, because Pune would have their own top brands, or Bangalore will have their own top brands, or Delhi, NCR, Gurgaon will have their own top brands or developers. So whichever corner of India or the world you are, buy with builders who are in the top 5 or 10 within that city or micro market, and buy in projects that you feel would become a landmark within that location.
Correct.
So every location would have a landmark. Like Mahalakshmi has Raheja Vivaria, that's a landmark. Parel has Kalpatru Avana, that's a landmark. BKC has Suntec, Signature Island, that's a landmark. So every location would have a landmark property or a project. So invest in a project that you feel would become or would come as close to a landmark project. One more example that I can think of, like our investors have made very good money, because we were talking of Beaumont and Prabhadevi, in projects like 25 South and Rustomjee Crown.
Right.
Because when these projects started, they were offered at a price of 50,000 or nearabouts that. And today when these buildings are ready, and each of them can be compared to Beaumont, so each of them is as good or better as Beaumont, or they are at par with each other. They are all going at about a lakh or more per square foot.
So Amit, tell me, what is the best stage to invest in a project?
So I think the best stage to invest in any project is to get in as early as possible, because if you get in early, then you get the benefit of riding the price appreciation that any investment or a project has to offer. Broadly, we can categorize the life cycle of a project in 6 different stages, where there are major price movements, apart from the movement that the market takes a project or a location along. First is the launch stage, or the pre-launch stage, where the project has just started, where there's digging happening, and the building is yet to see. So at this stage, you are largely buying the brochure because there's nothing much to see other than the renders or the elevation of the building or the walkthroughs that a builder would show you. The next is when the project receives some visibility, where it has completed plinth and the parking floors, the podiums, the first of the habitable floors start to show up. So at this stage, generally a lot of people are not comfortable buying in at a very early stage, and they are more comfortable buying when there is some visibility of the building where you can see how the building is shaping up.
Right.
So here, of course, once you start to see the building, there is a surge of demand, and then the fence sitters who were waiting to see how a project is shaping up actually come in, and then they buy at this stage. The next stage is when there is a show apartment. So now the building has achieved a certain milestone, and the developer tends to make a show apartment if it's a large project. If it's a small building that has 5-10 flats, and sometimes these show apartments don't get made.
Yeah.
But if it's a large project that has 50, 100, 200 plus apartments, then generally builders make a show apartment. So now a buyer can actually see and feel what a home will look like. They get a sense of how the apartment would look, how the windows would be, what the ceiling height would be, how it would feel in general walking through your own home. So when the show apartment or the sample apartment is done, there's generally another appreciation or tick in terms of price, because a lot of families who couldn't imagine how the home would be can now get a real feel of it.
Right.
The next is when the building reaches the milestone where it starts to look that it will get delivered soon. So the nearing possession phase, where the project has topped up, where the terrace level might have come, where the finishing work is going on. So now you can see that the building is nearly up, and delivery is just around the corner. So you would have a certain price appreciation at this stage when the building reaches the top slab. The next is when the building receives occupation certificate, or the OC, like we call in Mumbai, or BCC, building completion certificate. So that gives a stamp of approval from BMC to the building that the project was made as per the entire rules and norms, and now the building is habitable.
Yeah.
So now the building receives water, electricity, and all other conveniences.
Correct.
And now people can start staying in the building. So the building has received OC. So generally we've seen at each of this stage there is a certain price jump or price appreciation. So on OC also there is a price appreciation that happens. And the last is when the building starts getting life, when the residents actually move in. So people have come in, they've made their homes, the interiors have been done, the amenities are functional, families are living in the building. Now the building has a life of its own.
Yeah.
The community is getting established within that building. Whatever investors were there, the investors' hands have changed. So let's say if a building had 100 flats and 10 were investors, now those investors have also exited, and the actual buyers or end users have come in. So this is also a stage where there is a certain price appreciation. So at each stage there would be a price appreciation or a jump. So the short answer to this question is try to get in as early as possible. If you can get in at a launch stage of a project, then it's great, because we've seen in Mumbai from launch to possession over 5-6 years, an average return has been 60-70% or above, over a 4 to 5 year project that most of the buildings have delivered. So try to get in as early as possible so that you can maximize your returns.
Okay. What are some of the interesting locations in Mumbai where there is still value available for investment?
So largely, if you're looking at investing in Mumbai, look at a place where there is a certain amount of infrastructure which is being developed, or that location is being connected. I would like to quote an example of Chembur as a location. Chembur saw a substantial price increase, where at one point of time it was going sub 20,000 per square foot on carpet, and today certain pockets of Chembur has reached as high as beyond 45,000 per square foot on carpet. and this has largely been because of three major infra developments that happened that connected Chembur to different parts of Mumbai. One was the SCLR, the Santa Cruz Chembur Link Road, so it got connected to the western side and BKC very quickly. The other was monorail, which connected Chembur to Jacob Circle, so there was a South Bombay connectivity. And the third was the Eastern Freeway, which went from Mankhurd, passing Chembur, and connecting you right up to Colaba. So now you can reach town in literally 15 minutes on Chembur. And because of all of these three reasons, there was a major influx of demand and buyers who were now willing to invest or stay in Chembur, and that drove the prices up. So there are other pockets of Mumbai which are seeing this transformation as of today. Like you have the coastal road, so you have connectivity now to South Bombay from suburbs, and this coastal road is going all the way till Warsaw, the next phase. So the next phase will connect Bandra to Warsaw. So I think that will have some impact on pricing in terms of Andheri West or Goregaon West. That could be an interesting micro market to look at. Then you have metro connectivity, which is happening in the eastern suburbs. So on LBS Road you have metro, which is coming up. I think Kanjur Marg or Bhandup is an interesting play because you have some of the large lands available, factories which got defunct or shut,
right,
or have moved beyond Thane or Bhiwandi. So you have large parcels of land in these micro markets, which is giving way to a fancy or luxury gated complexes. So Bhandup Kanjur Marg could be an interesting play in terms of investments. Because of Atal Setu, now Parel has got connected to Navi Mumbai. The other day I was driving to Atal Setu because I wanted to experience it myself, and literally we got on at Shivri, and in 12 or 13 minutes we were in New Bombay, and this is unheard of, such reaching New Bombay so fast from South Bombay. So I think Parel, Vadala could be an interesting place to look at because obviously Atal Setu will have an impact.
right.
Then of course Panvel is obviously a great destination if somebody is looking at a smaller ticket size homes because of the upcoming airport. Also because Atal Setu has connected to Panvel. So this Panvel, Kharghar, that New Bombay belt could be an interesting place. And I think Worli, Mahalakshmi, because obviously you have multiple exits of coastal road. So this could also be an interesting place. So there are multiple pockets in Bombay, which are still not peaked out, so to say. Like Bandra, Juhu has become quite expensive in the last 4-5 years. There may or may not be a large growth potential within this location. BKC could offer fairly high growth potential because obviously BKC is right in the center of Mumbai.
Right.
You have 8 potential metro lines coming up. I think 3 of them are passing by BKC. One has already started, the Seeps to Colaba underground metro. So it has already started, and we've seen traffic in BKC grow exponentially. Like earlier, it would take 15 minutes to reach BKC from, let's say, Mahi, Dadar.
Right.
Nowadays, it takes upwards of 45 minutes. So traffic is good in terms of investments because wherever there is traffic means that there is demand and there are people who are going to that location. So Bandakula complex, great investment if you're looking at a 10-year, 5-year horizon. So yeah, I think whether your budget is 1 crore or 50 crores or 100 crores, I think any of these locations, to my mind, offer reasonable growth potential.
We have another interesting question. Why suddenly South Mumbai is seeing an uptick in both prices and volumes in Mumbai?
So South Mumbai has always been a great place to stay because it offers certain characteristics. One is proximity to the sea, which is in a place like Mumbai is great because everybody likes going or accessing beach wherever it's possible, like Worli Sea Face or Chowpatty. wider roads as compared to suburbs. There are no rickshaws. In general, the air quality index is also fairly decent in south of Bombay. There are parks or gardens, like you have Hanging Gardens or Priyadarshini Park. So in general, South Bombay was always a preferred destination if anybody was looking at an upgrade or buying a home. Over the last few years, I would say pre 2021, we were generally seeing a rise of suburbia, because Bombay being a north-south city, accessing South Bombay was very difficult. Like, I know that in the peak, when there was limited connectivity in South Bombay, it used to take, if you were coming from Bandra or Andheri, it would take more than an hour, hour and a half to reach South Bombay. And of course, this was extremely inconvenient for people. So what happened is businesses started transitioning. Companies started moving to BKC for cost reasons. Obviously, they started moving beyond BKC to Andheri East, to Goregaon East. And because corporate or commercial hubs started shifting that side, we saw that prices in South Bombay were not growing as much as it was growing in suburbs.
Right.
So like in 2019 or 20, landmark locations of Bandra like Pali Hill, Mount Mary, Carter Road was selling beyond a Nepean Sea Road or Altamont Road or Carmichael Road, which was unheard of, because always South Bombay was a place where the property prices was the highest. Coastal Road has been a game changer. So ever since Coastal Road has opened up, we've seen a resurgence of South Bombay. We're getting inconvenienced. Traveling now can reach their offices if they are in Bandra Kurla complex or Andheri East, fairly quickly. So in 2019 or 20, there was more than 25% vacancy in Nariman Point, because a lot of businesses had moved, a lot of corporates had moved. They had moved to Bandra Kurla complex or Andheri East or Goregaon East, for cost reasons. Some of the landmark locations of South Bombay, such as Nepean Sea Road or Altamont Road or Carmichael Road, at this time period was selling lower than a landmark location of Bandra, like a Pali Hill or Carter Road or Bandstand, which was very unheard of. I think the game changer has been Coastal Road, because suddenly now South Bombay is on the radar again in terms of connectivity. So it's no longer a difficult place to reach. It's become extremely convenient. The second one is Atal Setu, because now from Panvel you can reach Colaba in a matter of 45 minutes or even less. So that has suddenly shifted the ball towards South Bombay. Of course, it has always been a great place to live because of various dynamics that it offers you. But now because it is being connected through different modes, one is on one side Coastal Road, on the other side Atal Setu, and also you have metro, the underground metro connectivity, which will take you all the way up till Cuff Parade. So you can reach Andheri East to Cuff Parade, through the underground metro. Because of all these softer play of infrastructure development, I think South Bombay is seeing a major resurgence, because people who were earlier shifting away are no longer shifting away. They are staying put. They are staying, where they are. A lot of projects have also come up in South Bombay. So you have, now you have good options in Mahalakshmi, in Worli, in Golden Triangle, like your Nepean Sea Road, Breach Candy, Altamont Road. So over the last 2.5, 3 years, there have been a slew of launches, in the Golden Triangle. So earlier families who had no choice but to go beyond South Bombay and look at suburbs or look at BKC or look at some of the other farther destinations towards the north are now coming back. And because of Coastal Road, you have families from suburbs also who always wanted to stay in South Bombay, but because of connectivity issues they never decided, are now coming and looking, for properties or projects here. So I would reckon anything Worli or anything south of it over the next 5 years, 10 years, a decade should do extremely well because of all of these reasons.
What advice would you give to someone who's trying to sell their property to get a fair value for their home?
I think some of the mistakes that potential sellers do when they are offering their properties in the market is that they don't think from the lens of a buyer, that what a buyer would like to see when they come in and have a look at the apartment. So selling a property is like having your boy or a girl married. If you want to get them married, what would you do? You would groom them, you would dress them up nicely, you would go for a nice photo shoot, you would click some nice pictures, you would offer it to the right matchmakers. So selling a property is also similar. So what you must do is try and identify what are the weaknesses in the apartment today if a potential buyer is coming, and how would you resolve those weaknesses. So paint being chipped looks extremely bad, leakage in the home looks extremely bad, dust lying around, or a sense of a house being unhygienic looks extremely bad, excess furniture looks extremely bad in the home. So try and do a whitewash of the home, paint the home, because a freshly painted home has a great vibe or positivity to it. Height, light, air plays a major role when it comes to someone who's entering a home, and that's the first vibe someone feels, that there is a certain amount of height, there is natural light. If there is no natural light, at least the artificial lights are on, so that someone can see the house appears more brighter.
Right.
Windows are open, curtain shades are not closed, the fan is on, so there is a sense of ventilation or air in the home. Otherwise there's a certain air that floats in the house that doesn't give a great feel. If windows are closed, like supposing you're selling a home that you haven't stayed, and if the windows are closed, then there is a certain moss that is there in the air, and so try and think what a potential buyer would like to feel. Try and be in the shoes of the buyer, that this is what a positive or a nice home should look like. And just do these small basic things, like
Right.
getting the paint done, doing a deep clean of the house, getting rid of excess furniture if there is too many furniture, that doesn't make sense. So getting rid of them, so that creates a certain open space in the house. Focusing on height, light, air, and that's it.
Is now a good time to purchase a property in Mumbai, or should someone wait?
So I'll answer this question both objectively and unobjectively. The unobjective answer is that whenever you decide to buy a home is a great time to buy a home.
Right.
The objective answer is what the great legendary investor Warren Buffett always says, that in the short term the market is a voting machine, and in the long term it's a weighing machine. So in the short term it can create ripples, or it can create effects where you feel that buying something may not be the right time because the market sentiments may not be the best. But these are all transitionary, these are all temporary. As long as you're buying a home in a city or a country where the macroeconomic factors look good, where there is a growth potential that you can see, and you're getting it at a price that makes sense, then definitely one should buy it. So while over the last a quarter or maybe 4 or 5 months there has been less demand or interest from certain community of businesses, it has been equally compensated by something else. So Mumbai is a very dynamic market. So yes, the market has fallen, stock market has fallen, everybody can see it. So obviously there is less interest from people who are in this trade, like stockbrokers, or people who are in the finance trade, like bankers, are showing less interest, because of course some parts of the money does come from their stock portfolios. So the stock portfolios being down now, they are not showing as much interest as they were showing 3 or 4 months back. But what has also happened is, while the stock market has fallen, gold has gone beyond 85,000. So now suddenly there is a lot of interest from people who are in gold trade. Commodity prices have gone up. So there is a lot of interest for people who are in the metal trade. So jewelers have come forth because, now when gold was sub 80,000, now it's gone beyond 85,000. So, people who are in the diamond trade, in gold trade, have suddenly started showing a lot of interest. What has also happened is rupee has weakened against the dollar. So which means for an NRI today, buying a home has become cheaper. Because earlier he was getting, let's say for $100,000, he was getting, let's say 82 or 83 lakhs after conversion. Today they are getting 86, 87 lakhs. So, for the dollar, they are getting much more in terms of rupee.
Right.
So from their point of view, the property suddenly, if the value of the property is same, in a dollar terms, it has become cheaper for them. So there has been a lot of interest from the NRI fraternity. So, because Mumbai is such a dynamic market and you have demand from so many sources, if there is an issue in one source, suddenly some other source gets activated. So the objective answer is that while the stock market has gone down, it is transitionary, because every long-term investor believes that this is only a short-term phase, and we will see again record highs. But even if that segment of buyers are inactive for the moment, you have a second set of buyers who have suddenly become active. Like big MDs and CEOs have not got impacted because their salaries or bonuses are not as impacted, as stockbrokers or people in the finance trade have been. People who are in the jewelry business, have suddenly become more wealthy because the stock of jewelry is now fetching them more value. People who are, NRIs are suddenly getting better share of the dollars that they have overseas. So I think overall real estate looks positive. It looks that it is poised for good growth, and if one is investing today, then I believe that they will make fairly decent returns.
So we'll take one last question. If someone is looking at investing in real estate, then will buying a large size home give higher appreciation as compared to a smaller size, or will there be no difference?
So what we have seen historically is that there is a certain limit to what a family's budget is, and then the limit increases exponentially as the number of bedrooms go up. Like if we talk about Worli or Bandra as a location, because both of them are, quoting at similar ranges, then a family who's wanting to buy a one bed will typically have a budget between 2 to 3 crores.
Correct.
As of today. Somebody who's buying a 2 bed will typically have a budget between 3 to 5 crores, at max 6. Somebody who's buying a 3 bed would typically have a budget ranging from 5 to at max 15 crores. 15 also is on the higher side, but this is for projects that would be that would offer some amount of sea view or a very large carpet, like a 2000 carpet in a fairly decent location in either of these areas. But as you cross 3 bedroom and you move to a 4 or 5,
Right.
there is no limit on budget. So we've seen projects in Worli where a large 4 bedroom can range anywhere between 10 to 70 crores. And as insane as this sounds, it is a reality in the market. Like there is a project called Oberoi 360 where a 4 bedroom, which is 5,500 carpet, is quoting at 75 crores or above, as of this discussion, and it may go higher also in the future. So the range of 4 bedroom, this is the range. So it would be as low as 10, or it could be as high as 70, 75 CR. A 5-bedroom in Worli Sea Face, projects like Namanzana or Lodha Sea Face is in excess of 100 crores. So the range of a 5-bedroom in a location like Worli starts from 15 crores and it is beyond 100 crores. So as you see that the number of bedrooms or the size of apartment as it has increased, the budget of the family who's buying the home has increased exponentially. So the answer to this question is that yes, as the size of the home increases, the appreciation potential that you will see will also go up. So no matter what ticket size or budget you're looking at, for a place like Mumbai, there is always a luxury home that you can find, maybe not in this location, then in some other location.
Right.
Like if someone has a budget of 5 crores and if he's looking at pure investment and if they are location agnostic, which means that, for them the location would not matter, because a lot of people are not location agnostic. Like if somebody is staying in Shivaji Park, then they would like to, invest also in a certain range of Shivaji Park or Bandra or Juhu or, whichever location you want to. But let's say you're not location agnostic and you're open to investing anywhere in the city. Let's say you have a budget of 5 crores. Then the advice would be, instead of buying a 2-bedroom in Worli in 5 crores, why not buy the best project in Mulund or the best project in Kandivali? Why not buy a 4-bedroom in Mulund or a 4-bedroom in Kandivali or Borivali? Because that would tend to appreciate higher. Because in future, a family who's coming to purchase a luxury home or a large home in this location would tend to have a larger budget. If you invested a 5 crores in a 2-bedroom in Worli, then you will never get a 15 crores for it. Because, a family would not have a 15 crores budget for a 2-bedroom. But if you invest in a supersized home a little north, or a little far away from the center of Bombay, that's also fine.
Right.
Like let's say you have a budget of 3 crores, for example. Then you can buy a plush 4 or 5-bedroom in Thane or Panvel, because that might give you a higher return than buying a 1-bedroom in Bandra. Because that 1-bedroom in Bandra will not go from 3 crores to 6 crores.
Yeah.
But that 5-bedroom in Panvel may go. Because the person who's buying, as we've seen, the family who's buying a 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom, generally, the limit on the budget is exponentially high. So, irrespective of the budget that you have, whether it's 3 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 50 or 100, go for super-sized homes in luxury projects if you're location agnostic, because I think they might generate far better returns. So we've come to the end of the episode, and it was really great answering your questions, and we do hope that you can keep sending more of your queries and questions, and maybe we'll do this again in the future. So thank you and goodbye.